x squareds, I've got this one and this one, so 6 and 1 is 7. X's, I got negative 18 and 2, so negative 16. And negative 6. Okay, that's the horizontal method for doing different size polynomials or bigger than 2 by 2s. The vertical method, when you're doing this kind, is when you stack them. It does the same thing, only it's more like old-fashioned multiplication, and I'll show you why here in a minute. Take, for example, 672 times 21. This is vertically. The first thing you're going to do is multiply 672 by 1, right? 2 times 1 is 2. 7 times 1 is 7. 6 times 1 is 6. This is 672 times 1, isn't it? We insert a placeholder because our next row is 672 times 20, right? That's this. 4, 14, 13. Add it all up to 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 4. If I did my arithmetic right. So this is the result of 672 times 1 being added to 672 times 20. Just like this is the result of x squared plus 2x minus 6 times 3x being added to x squared plus 2x minus 6 times 1. The two pieces. Vertically, you can do this exact same thing just like we did here, and it looks a little bit different, so I'm going to show it to you. X squared plus 2x minus 6. The bigger one, the wider polynomial always goes on top. So this is a 3-piece polynomial. 3x plus 1. The 2-piece polynomial goes on the bottom. And instead of pushing it to the right, you push it to the left. Okay? This is pushed to the right, just like we always have learned. With polynomials, it's pushed to the left. Okay? Another thing you're going to want to keep in mind is make sure they are written in order of decreasing degree. In this case, it's of x. This is in decreasing degree of x, so this one also must be in decreasing degree of x. That's like place value. Okay? Now we're going to multiply. So we're going to start with x squared times 3x, which is 3x cubed. 3x times 2x, which is positive 6x squared, and 3x times negative 6, which is negative 18x. Looks like this, doesn't it? Same exact example. Now, remember how we would push that way and insert a placeholder? We're going to insert a placeholder here and push that way, because we are no longer multiplying with this piece. This piece is now dead, just like that piece is now dead. Okay? So we go in that way, just like we go in that way. It's basically the reverse of how you do numeric. Some people like this way, some people like that way. Okay, so now we're going to do our next piece, which is everything times the 1. X squared times 1, 2x times 1, negative 6 times 1. Notice, because everything is in decreasing degree of x, it all lines up below a placeholder that it matches with, or below a term that it matches with. This is the same as this. Add it all up is just like combining like terms. And you end up with the same answer that we had up here, just done vertically. And they show you that in example 1 as well. Now, back to 2 by 2 multiplication. That is going to be the most common multiplication you do. So actually from here it gets easier. 2 by 2 multiplication. I'm going to turn the page and we're going to start practicing that FOIL method that you guys know already. Example 2, 2 by 2 multiplication. When you have a binomial times a binomial, that's 2 by 2. Let's take, for example, 5k minus 3 multiplied by 7k minus 2. Now you could do the stack method, okay, if you wanted to, the vertical. But this is where we learned FOIL, which is multiplying using the order within each binomial and where they appear. F stands for first, which is you multiply the first terms together. First two terms in each binomial, the 5 and the 7, 35k squared. O stands for the outer. The outer two terms are the terms that are on the outside as they are written. So this guy is towards the outside, this guy is towards the outside. Result is negative 10k. In the same way, inside has to do with where they stand within these two problems. That's this one and this one. Gives you a negative 21k. Last, positive 6. Okay, that was these two. Combine any like terms and you have, whoops, that should be a 5. You have your answer. Minus 31k plus 6. 35k squared minus 31k plus 6. This FOIL method is extremely helpful. Now the special product thing that they show you at the top of the page that I told you guys I want you guys to copy has to do with a couple of different scenarios. Take, for example, they describe a plus b squared, which would look like this. Let's do 2x plus 4 squared. What that really means is whatever that item was multiplied by itself, right? When you're squaring something, that means you're multiplying that item by itself. So this is the pattern, this is an example. So actually put into practice, it would look like this. 2x plus 4 multiplied by 2x plus 4, am I right? And you could FOIL it if you wanted. And if you FOIL it, you will find that the result is going to be whatever the first term was squared. So in this case, a, the result is a squared. In this case, 2x, the result is 4x squared. Look at that, 2x times 2x, it's 4x squared, right? The second component is double whatever the product of a times b is. So a times b is ab, double it, 2ab. Put to the test, if you went O and I, 2x times 4 is 8x, 4 times 2x is 8x, which is 16x. So what's the product of a and b? It's 8x, right? Double it, 16x. Last, b squared. 4 times 4, is that 16? Is that b squared? So this pattern represents a simple trick so that you do not have to take this, write it like this, FOIL it, and find the answer.
Wait, will your 2ab always be the same as your b squared? Like 16x is like also.
No.
It's just for this one.
Yeah. They're not. Great question though. It's not always going to be the same. It has to just do with the numbers. So this, and then we could have another one that looks like this. A minus b squared, which here's an example. 3y plus 2. Okay, sorry, minus, thank you, squared. Which, if you wanted to FOIL it, it's simply a minus b multiplied by whatever minus whatever. A and b simply representing the first and second term. So in this case, if you wanted to FOIL it, it's 3y minus 2 multiplied by 3y minus 2, which I already know the result. It's a squared minus double the product of a and b plus b squared. I already know this. This pattern works every single time with adding and squaring and subtracting and squaring. So let's do it. Let's take that first term. What's 3y squared?
9y.
What is the product of a and b? 6y. Double it. And it's a negative. Remember, negative, negative 12y. Let's square b.
Wait, so since it's
4. Go ahead, Ash.
since it's a negative.
Yep, 3y times negative 2 is negative 6y.
Yeah. but
Double
since
it.
We're already subtracting it. Does that like have anything to do with it or no?
I don't know what you mean.
Like when you.
Well, you're just multiplying. We're multiplying 3y minus 2 times
Negative 6 plus negative 6 is
negative 12.
negative 12. But since we're already subtracting.
We're not already subtracting, we're multiplying. You are multiplying the polynomial.
No. Like in the formula you have over there, it says we're already subtracting. So would it be a positive or no? Because we're multiplying.
I'm sorry, I am not understanding what you're saying.
Okay, so like.
Do you?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The answer is like negative 12, but you're subtracting it already.
So is
Well, you're
it
not
what-
subtracting it already.
But when you put in the formula, there's a minus in front of it. It's
So what
already-
I'm asking is
negative
why.
Negative AB.
So let's FOIL, all right, FOIL this with me.
Negative.
FOIL it with me.
Okay.
A times A is what?
And squared.
Okay. Outside, what's A times negative B? Negative AB. Awesome. Let's I. Negative B times A. Negative AB, just putting it in order. Awesome. Negative B times negative B. Positive B squared. Collect like terms.
Oh, okay. I get, because what I was saying is I thought since we had a negative already and we were adding, I thought we would be adding the 12y, not subtracting it.
But it's negative AB
Yeah,
combined
that's
with
why
negative
I
AB.
was- Okay.
Yep. It's basically foiling, but this is a rule that you can memorize
Okay,
so
that's
that
why
you
I was
don't have to.
confused because I was like, why are
You were
these-
thinking like opposite of double AB.
Yeah, because it's not the opposite of, it's not a negative negative.
Yeah, that's why I was confused. Okay.
The last trick I want to show you guys, real quick,
After that, can I ask you a question?
yes, is, I'm going to go to the next page, is what if you have two numbers added together multiplied by two numbers being subtracted, or two items, let's just say. So say 2x plus 1 times 2x minus 1. Okay, let's say this is what you are faced with. This is one of my favorite rules ever. Let's FOIL this really quick, okay? A times A is A squared. First, outside, A times negative B, negative AB. Inside, A times positive B, positive AB. Last, negative B squared. Combine like terms. This, my dears, is the pattern every single time you do this. You do not need to FOIL. You can if you want to, but I guarantee you the result, anytime A and B are the same, only one is addition and one is subtraction, the result every single time is going to be the first term squared minus the second term squared. That is going to be your result. And if we FOIL it, I'll prove it to you. 4x squared minus 2x plus 2x minus 1. These cancel out, giving you that answer. So these three special products, based on the rules I tried to show you real quick, are tricks that if you recognize them, you won't have to do nearly as much work. And sometimes they're a little bit deceptive though. Like what if I said to you this one, 4t minus 1 times 1 plus 4t. You might not realize it, but this is this. This just needs to be inverted. 4t plus 1. 4t minus 1. Flipping this around in the binomial gives you an a plus b, a minus b pattern, which then can quickly be solved, 16t squared minus 1, without foiling. And anytime you can not FOIL, you're going to be better off. Hey, look at example 6, or I'm sorry, written number 6, and then I'll leave you guys alone. Look at written number 6. What pattern does that one follow? It follows the second pattern. Number 6, 4k minus 5 squared is just like this. Be very, very careful. One error I see every year, is when you guys see this, I get answers that are 9y squared plus 4. Every year. This means all of these pieces. A squared minus double the product of A and B plus B squared. And if that bothers you, FOIL it. Take this, open it up, and FOIL it. Because only in this situation will you not have a middle term, at least in these special rules that I'm describing for you. Okay?